Salut, hi, how are you? In today's video, I would like to share with you really good tips, at least I hope they will be helpful for you, about managing well your code. When you are a software engineer, you have to keep your code base clean and efficient to be able to have a code that scales in the future. Sometimes we hard code values, sometimes we don't think about what if we add a new option there or a new setting there. We will again have to change our code. It doesn't scale. If we have too many users, it will not run anymore. It will not be right. So again, it doesn't scale. And too often we don't think that way. Okay, optimizing our software when it's too early, that's pointless. Over engineering, I disagree with that. You don't have to think too much and creating the best ever application when you have 0 people on your website. But when you are working for a company and you already have a lot of traffic and the traffic is going up and up and up every single day, is exponential, you know that you have to think in a scaling way. Of course, if you are building your personal website for yourself, no, that's pointless. It depends on the context. But in the context of you being an employee of a company and you have been asked to create, for instance, a setting in the software basically, and that setting should allow to add different profile types. So you have different profile types, and you need to build it in a certain way. But if you don't think like, oh, what if in the future we have to change the label or you have to change the name, and it's very likely that the product owner will ask you for that, then you will have to spend so much time again. So if you think already that way, even if they didn't ask, but it's very likely to be asked in the future, at least the feature will already be there, and you will just have to say, voila, it's already on the plate, on the trail, here it is. And it will help you, it will save you time, and it will make you a better software engineer. So always look how you can be better every single day, iterate and judge as well from your code from last year. I think that's a fantastic advice, to always look from your code you pounded last year, and that way you can see, oh wow, I have done already all of this. It's amazing. It's so good how I have improved from before to now. You can see all of the way how you build things better, quicker, faster, and also more technologies and maybe better choices you are making. In my case, if I look at my code I have done even 6 months ago, I can see an improvement. Of course, the more you become a senior engineer, the less it happens, because then you are learning not as much as you used to, because you know already a lot, and all of those clean code, refactoring, solid principles, you know them, and you already apply them. So it will not make a big difference from 1 year time, but when you are a junior, when you are just at the beginning of your career, you will see a huge improvement. So it is normal, it is completely normal that the improvement will be lower as more you become senior and advanced engineer. But at the beginning, when you are a graduate or a junior engineer or even a mid engineer, you will see quite a lot of improvements you do. But always seek for improvement, because software engineering field is amazing since it involves so much. Every time you have something new, every time something new is been released, a new library, a new version of something, and so of course that forces you to learn so much. But more importantly, it will make you even more passionate about your job, because it's just the opposite of boring, if you see what I mean. When it's always the same, when it looks like a linear, you will just at some point think, oh, my days look always the same. And it does happen in some engineering jobs, like if you work maybe for traditional web agencies, it is that way. So there is building like e-commerce websites for clients, and it's a bit similar every day. Now with AI, it's different. You have to learn new tools to make yourself more productive, more efficient, because otherwise you will be, you cannot be as slow as you used to. You have better tools, and you have to use the better tools to do your job. It will be better quality, less time spent there, and so you can have more time to do something else, or maybe doing another part of your job you were not doing before. Maybe in the future, software engineer will also be product owner. Why not? There are a lot of software engineers who are product owners later on, and you have to know code. In my opinion, and in the opinion of many software engineers, a product owner who doesn't know code, who doesn't know much about software, is a really bad software, or is a really bad product owner, because they just don't know what they are speaking about, and they don't understand deadline. Even if they are really good with Scrum, with Kanban, with the agile methodologies, they need to know how software is working. They need to have their hands dirty, and if you don't work that way, like recently I received on LinkedIn a message of someone, like every day nearly I receive messages of recruiters, and it's funny because some of them were like asking me to be a product owner. They said, we had one, actually it was someone working for, like it wasn't a recruiter. I mean, it was a recruiter, but for that specific company. It wasn't like an external recruiter. It was like a talent acquisition for that company. And said, our product owner wasn't good. And it did, for me, it was a bit of a red flag, because that person was saying something bad about the company, and that person is working for the company, but at the same time they were really transparent, and it was more like a startup. So at least some people will not like it, but showing the transparency and showing directly their opinion in front of anyone, it's a culture. It's the culture of that company. So you like it or you don't like it, but at least they are black and white. They are black or white, They are not trying to make everybody happy and to have those kind of really polished words. I mean, polished, like really, they try to make their vocabulary fit in for everybody. Here, no, it was just the opposite. And that's what also I liked it. So I just asked for more information. And the person was just saying that it was very hard for the software engineers to manage their time as well, because the product owner was never listening to them. And it was a big issue because all engineers working for the team of that product owner would leave before 1 year. So it was like definitely very toxic. So they had to say to him, okay, now it's fine, goodbye. So they had to let him off. And apparently it was a really good decision, but then they were looking for a software engineer to be a product owner. Of course, product owner is not for everybody, because you are in a lot of meetings. In my case, I said maybe later, I like it, but not right now. Right now, no. But again, in my career, I believe I will be a product owner one day, of course. I love learning new things. I love especially deciding, like I think I'm really opinionated about what kind of product it should be and how it should look like. I'm really good at that. And this is why I think I will do a good job if I really like the product. If for me, the product drives me, then I will be driven in the mission. So, when we are saying, oh, that's funny, I was looking for polished words, polished vocabulary, maybe. Anyway, it's not really important. And yeah, so you always have to be aware that next year your job will look differently. The tools you will use, the way you will do your job, the way you have to focus as well will be different than today. And last year and the years before, in my case I have now over 12 years of experience, so it's crazy. It has been like a roller coaster. I started early and I was lucky. When I was a student, I started building my software PH7 CMS. Now it's PH7 Builder, it's fully open source. I used to sell a license for premium features when I used to be self-employed. back when I was in the UK, living in Manchester, between Manchester and London. It was amazing. I love Manchester. At least when I was there, I really liked it. I didn't go back since January 2018 was my last time there. But when I moved in Manchester, it was in 2014. And it was great. Cheaper than London. People are, I think, they're a bit friendlier and are more local. You have less tourists, and so it was easier for me. Like less French people. Back then in London, there was so many French people everywhere, and for me, I really wanted to learn English because when I moved to there, I didn't know English at all. I didn't even know how to say hello, to be honest. I didn't know what meant welcome. I could see sometimes welcome on the wall where I was living in my country, but people saw welcome, but they didn't really know what it meant. And same house, like we are saying back home, who's. Oh my god, so bad. And I was saying knife, I used to say. So you see how bad I was. So that's why I really wanted to go to Manchester to be able to force to speak English. And then in London, I was hired in a Starbucks. I didn't speak English, and it's only because the people there, they had to speak French for me, which was a bit embarrassing. But British people are so nice, so friendly from what I was used to back home. Wow, it was a culture shock, but in a really good way. I realized that, yeah, people are so friendly, and I loved that. And then after I moved to so many different English-spoken countries, and people are just amazing, so friendly, and they make sure that you feel well everywhere, and I love that. So yeah, that's also important when you are productive in a job you are working for. You also have toxic environment, and that will also drain your productivity. It will be really bad for your productivity because you will have a lot of negative thoughts about those conversations, and that will follow you, and it will just dwell you. Like dwelling, like to be in your soul, and you need to run away from that as much as you can. Don't stay in a toxic environment. It's not good for you, like really not. So that's my really main advice. Run away. Don't stay in a company where people are not nice with you or where you are not treated fairly. Because it will just ruin your life, and we just have one single life. We don't have two, we don't have three, we just have one. That's why it's so important to enjoy your colleagues and the place where you are. Like here, where I am, I love where I am. I love swimming. Cairns, it's so beautiful. I'm in Cairns, if you wonder where I am. And yeah, it's just a beautiful place, little paradise, I call it. So yeah, and that's actually an artificial pool, an artificial swimming pool. So I just really like where I am. And yeah, I wish you all the best on your productivity, on what you do, on your day-to-day job. And yeah, you see that light, I like it too. I like everything. And you see, when you like everything, you're happy with your colleagues, you are happy in your life. And I used to work for companies where it was very traditional. Especially I worked in a hospitality company and as a software engineer, and when people don't really value what you do well, and you will never be valued very well because you're a software engineer, and yeah, for them it's just an employee, that's it, and they will never see what you do. Some people did, but others didn't. That's why I really suggest you to be in a good place. And I used to have really good managers, but sometimes even if you have a really good manager, like if the CEO doesn't understand what you do, if the product owner, if you have one, if you are lucky to have one, doesn't understand what you do, or if the Scrum Master, yeah, usually you don't have much interaction with the Scrum Master actually, but it's also important. It's very important where everybody is like taking care of you, and you will do the same too then. And how would say that word? In French we say bienveillant. And I really like that term actually. Bienveillant, it's something, I appreciate that term, bienveillant. It's in English, caring, yeah, care. You have to care about your people. Caring is really important. Benevolent.
Bienveillant.
Oh no, I wanted the other one. The other one, please. For some reason it doesn't want to translate that one to me. Why?
Benevolent.
Benevolent. So yeah, that's the term. I wish you a happy coding. Just be happy in your life, and you see everything else will follow to you. See you in another video. Bye bye.